As a baseball fan, you know a good team and a bad team when you see them. But I was thinking about this the other day, and this is gonna sound really simple when I ask it, but really think about this question. What actually makes a good baseball team? Because, I mean, obviously, right? Like, a team can hit really well, like, they're probably good. If a team can pitch really well, they're probably good. Like, there's that stuff at face value, but it's like, what is it about a team, and specifically what they do well, that makes them better than the rest of baseball? Because we can see it across the league. Teams have different philosophies. They have different things that they look for in players when they're building their rosters, when they're filling out their farm system, all of this. So who has the right idea and who is building their team in the right way? So to try to figure this out, let's take a look back at 2021 and see what the top teams of last year did better than the rest of the league. And so we're going to start at the top with the Giants, who had the best record in the regular season, and go all the way down to the Braves, who are the last team to make the playoffs. And this is going to include then the Blue Jays and the Mariners, who had a better record than the Braves but didn't make the playoffs. And with our top teams, we're going to take a look at most of the major statistical categories. I mean, everything from their slash lines, OPS, OPS plus, ERA, ERA plus, FIP-WHIP, per nines, fielding metrics, all of that kind of stuff. And when we compare the average of these top teams versus how the rest of Major League Baseball did, there's some stuff that kind of starts to jump out at you, and the main one is not at all what I thought it was going to be. Taking a look at the biggest differences, by far the biggest one was actually defensive runs saved. This came in like 83.3% higher than the rest of baseball, which was crazy to me, seeing as the next highest is home runs per nine, and that's at 15.6%. And then rounding out the rest of our top five, we've got ERA plus at 14.7% higher, ERA at 13.6, and then your fielding independent pitching at 8.7% higher. And then looking at our smallest differences, pitching wise, leaving runners on base actually had a negative correlation. Fielding percentage came in right at an even 1, which I found kind of interesting. Batting average and offensively leaving runners on base only had an increase of 1.4%, and on base percentage was only 2.2% higher. Suck it, Moneyball. All right, so what do all these numbers actually mean? When we take a look, the fact that defensive runs saved is the highest difference, and fielding percentage didn't really seem to matter at all. What I take from that is that defense is still really, really important, but not quite how you might think. Seeing as there's not a whole lot of variability in fielding percentage, and especially then taking the fact that these top teams were basically as good as the rest of baseball at this, what that tells me is that it's not so much defensively about having to make the routine play. Like, these are professional fielders. They should make the routine play all the time. Where it seems to matter more is not how often does a team make errors on routine plays, but how much can they really take away the other team's offense with really good defense. Being able to rob home runs, take away balls in the gaps and down the line, that kind of stuff that's gonna keep the other team from taking that extra base, getting that extra run that they shouldn't. That's where this is very, very valuable. So having those gold glove guys at those premier defensive positions, that's really valuable. The gold glove shortstop, center fielder, catcher, like those guys can make a really big impact on a game defensively, and that's going to be pretty cheap when it comes then to building a roster. Like, guys get paid because of what they do with the bat, not always necessarily what they do with the glove. So if there's that guy that is just an outlier defensively, like, that dude can make a really big impact. The other takeaway seems to be an answer to the question, which is more important, pitching or hitting? And it seems pretty clearly to be pitching. I mean, across the board, these teams were better pitching-wise than the rest of the league compared to their hitting. Like, they had higher increases across the board on everything pitching wise. So it's a lot more valuable to have a pitching staff that can shut down the other offense than to try to rely on a high-powered offense to still hit guys like DeGrom or Scherzer or whoever. Especially with the increase in not only velocity, but spin rate, movement, all this just stuff that major league pitchers have across the league right now. Hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in sports. Now, that's not to say that offense isn't valuable. I mean, on average, these teams were better offensively than the rest of baseball, but it seems pretty clear that pitching can provide a lot more value than hitting. So a team that's loading up on arms, probably especially starting pitching, because bullpen can always just kind of be volatile from year to year. Like, those are the teams that are probably built more for success. But you do still have to fill out a lineup card every day, and what kind of guys do you want in there? Apparently, and kind of obviously, you want the power guys. It's hard enough to hit a baseball. To try to do it multiple times to get around the bases and score runs is really difficult. So the guys that can put one in the gap and move runners around or move themselves into scoring position or just put it over the fence and score themselves, that's probably going to be the highest value that you're going to get offensively. And as they say, chicks dig the long ball. But this is all just my interpretation of some numbers from last season, so leave a comment. Let me know what you think. What's most valuable when you're building a roster? What is it about a team that makes them better than the rest of the league? Or anything else that you thought of while watching this? And if you made it this far, thank you, I appreciate it. However, if you want to show any support to the channel, liking the video, subscribing to the page, whatever you want to do, I appreciate it. I think clearly you're a baseball fan, and we're going to talk about a lot of different baseball topics on this channel, so stick around and be a part of that. This has been the Mound Visit. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.